like we are on live and ready to begin. So welcome everybody to the Academy Lafayette October board meeting. Hopefully everybody had a chance to review the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda for tonight?
So moved, Michelle.
There are a couple of changes. Maybe the board may need to know that we changed the motion about the number of hours. The finance department recommend not to do it. That's fine. So remember, the one I sent you had a motion about number of hours, 75 versus 80 hours. And the finance department said that it's not necessary to do it. So it's no longer there.
Okay.
I'll second Miss Harriet. I'll second the motion.
Right. Any discussion? Everyone in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Right. Motion carries. Carlos has always sent out the minutes for us. Oh, wait. Any stakeholder comments? I didn't see an email. Do we have any stakeholders for tonight? I don't believe so.
No, we do not.
Okay. Hopefully everybody reviewed the September meeting minutes. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved, Harriet.
Second.
Second, Michelle.
Any discussion?
No.
All right. Everyone in favor?
Aye.
Nice. Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Not for an opposed, correct? Motion carries. And is Alonda on? I know a lot of times she struggles to get on. Do we have Alonda on yet? I don't see her. So we can go ahead. If she does log in a little bit later, we'll go back to PTO report. All right, so Jackie.
Hey, good evening, everybody. And look at that winning team right there. Our soccer team is just really doing well everywhere. So you can go to the next slide.
This team won was number one at the last meet to cross country.
That is so great. And cross country, yeah. You can go to the next slide. So for our committee report, we'll talk about accounts payable, our DESI payments and projections. And accounts payable for September was very large. We had a lot of our startup for school supplies, etc. I will give you the 4 or 5 items that the Finance Committee asked about, and we went through line by line, but there were some that they pointed out. There were quite a few CSP grant expenses, and again, those are part of the federal high school startup grant, and so those are reimbursable through that grant. There was a large summer school, a large payment for the bus company, and that's because it included all of summer school and August. It was 60-some thousand for summer school, but that is still in our budget. In fact, a little bit under what we budgeted. Teach for America, the question was, why are we paying Teach for America? And that's the PD for new teachers. This is the 3rd year, I believe. And the last question was about picnic tables that were not budgeted, but we did use ESSER 2 funds. We plan on using ESSER 2 funds so that we were able to do social distancing for meals and sometimes outside classrooms. Those were the 4 big areas. If anybody else had anything that they wanted to ask about when reviewing them, let me know. Otherwise, we just need to approve September accounts payable.
So moved to approve September accounts payable. This is Harriet.
This is Kelly. I second it.
Discussion? Everyone in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries.
Okay, next slide. Just a little busy, still trying to get this summary. And so early in the year, we only have 2 months. So when it's the actual year to date, this is just July and August, because that's the only month that has been officially closed with the accountants. So it's really early to do a lot of forecasting. However, the state revenue, this is a pickup from, if you remember last, I think it was July, when we did our attendance ADA for the school year. When students came back in March, April, May, our attendance went up. And so we had been conservative in our request. And I think once the audit is done, we'll see some changes there. And so that variance is including the pickup from that. And we're also the pickup from the federal revenue, which is carryover for Title I and special education. So those are the things we know about. I reported last month that we are working on a budget revision. We're not quite there yet, but that will include some of those additional changes and how much we really want of ESSER 3 money in this year's budget, because we can carry that over to the next fiscal year. So like a little early, but those are the known. And in expenses, it's way too early to make any changes in projection right now for expenses, except for that line Fund 40 expenses paid from operating. Those are most of the time unbudgeted, unplanned, like the Oak Stairs collapsing, the E-rate. We paid the down payment on the E-rate of $164,000, and that has to go in Fund 40 because it's attached to the building. And then we'll get a refund of $61,000 on that and make that refund back into this line. So I think when we do the budget amendment this year, we have a little more knowledge about some of those things that we can put in there. And I think the other additional things is the Oak Staircase. The other one was looking at some Cherry air conditioning issues that may or may not have to be Fund 40. We'll see what those are. Okay, so November we'll have a little more. But if you have a look, we budgeted to have about $442,000 over expense in revenue, and then it looks like it's about $747,000, which is a $305,000 change due to those revenue changes that we know of. Okay, the next one. So this just shows what we budgeted. If you look down on line 3, that operating expenses over or under, and then the next line, we'd have to include our debt service expenses. And after doing so with our current projections, we would be about $325,000 to the good from what our budget was. And again, I think, so early, knowing what we know, that would be, that's the early projections, but we'll take a lot of time looking at that budget amendment and as you know, as the year goes through, making changes as that happens. Okay, the next one. So we're not doing this motion, we removed that. And as I said, we're working on the budget amendment, and that mainly has to do with the changes in our year-end ADA from last year, but also the ESSER 2 and ESSER 3 funds. So we'll be working on that. The capital needs summary, and that I explained about having to expend operating for those capital expenditures. We know about the Oak Stairs, asphalt, etc. Cherry Playground, we're still in discussion, and we'll look at that, what that might look like and what that might cost. And again, the Cherry air conditioning issues. For about the last 2 years, I have not completely updated our facilities, long-term needs. We used to be able to do that. We really have not done a full assessment. And MC Realty, that provides our maintenance person right now, just completed a walkthrough with all of the different departments. So we start the roof, the air conditioning, all the HVAC issues, floors, windows, outside. So they just finished. We haven't received the assessment yet. Obviously, there are going to be things on there that we won't do. We need to prioritize, but I think there's some things in that assessment that will really help guide us in terms of long-term planning for capital needs. And, rather than having emergencies and those kinds of things, although that will always continue to be there, I think once we see this facilities assessment, it'll be really helpful in that 5-year, 10-year budget planning. So looking forward to getting that and really appreciate them doing that. We thought that they did that for free and as part of working with us. So that's going to be very helpful to the board for long-term planning. And that's all I have, unless you have some questions.
And before we go on to development, I know we have Alonda on. Would love to go back to the PTO report. Alonda, are you there?
Yes. So, excuse me. So basically, we have some things coming up. We have the Blue Bayou and the mixer for the middle school kids. That's coming up on, I believe, the 30th of the month. So we have that going on, and we also have the holiday mart that will be coming up. I believe that's November 21st or 19th. I'm not, my dates are all wrong. But so we have some of our fundraisers that we have coming up. We have another restaurant night coming in here on November 11th, I believe. Even though we're not in school, it's still going to be a pretty good fundraiser. It's like a give back night. So we are resuming our normal activities as much as we can. And so, yeah, we're just kind of excited. And then we have another PTO board meeting on Tuesday the 19th. So, yeah, so we're keeping focused and we're keeping our eye on the prize and we're just strutting forward. So we're pretty excited about that.
Thank you for continuing to move all of those things forward, even in the craziness of COVID. It's nice to see we can still sort of convene those. So thanks for taking the lead on that.
Oh, no problem. I got a great board, so it's really easy just to make anything happen. They are very dedicated, so I am very lucky. So
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right. If there are no questions for Alonda, we can move on to development.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? There we go. Hope everyone's having a great night. Just wanted to share, we're pretty excited. We've grown our development committee and have brought in 2 additional members to help strengthen our development subcommittees, along with adding our new development intern to help support all of those efforts as well. We're also continuing to grow our community partners and expand our grant opportunities. Since our last board meeting, we did launch the annual raffle that I'm assuming everyone gets tons of emails now from me. And I wanted to share a few updates with that. I believe it's on the next slide. We've kicked off the raffle with the mini donut party that everyone, students and teachers, got to enjoy outside at every campus. That was a lot of fun, actually. Our 5th grader from Oak, I think you guys see her little picture up there. She was the winner of the t-shirt design contest. And her design is going to be on this year's t-shirt, and it's so cute. It says the experience of Paris in the middle of the city. You'll see it once the t-shirt, but it's exciting. And then I've also attached a few slides to share with you guys, kind of comparing last year to this year, where we're at with the growth. I know with everything that's been going on, we're actually doing pretty good with growing. These are the student participation. So Armor, we're about, I believe 68. Then we're with Cherry, about 148 students. And then Oak, of course, is just leading the pack with about 201. So it's kind of exciting. I believe the next slide will share a little bit further that I've kind of made. So this is where we're at with our annual raffle. Just to date, I know I just kind of peeked at it. So we're about 62,000 currently. I broke it down into kind of the weeks that we were moving, starting off. That did end on Friday, that 8th. So we're about 10,000 now instead of the 76. So we're at 62. The next slide is going to share kind of our breakdown from last year. We did have 57 days last year to do the raffle. This year we did cut it short because we started late. So we have 42, but yet we're still doing very good. Our t-shirt design, which was new for this year, we did have 230 students participate, which was really exciting. And then from last year to this year, we have 253 students that reached their $100 marker, which was great. And then I just gave you the funds where we're at right now. And then the student participation actually has climbed. We're at about 420 right now. From last year's 430. So it looks like even the shorter amount of time frame, but we're still pumping up. So we still have 10 more days. I would like to surpass last year's, plus kind of get into a higher category of funds. So if everyone can just keep going strong, we do have right now daily winners that we're choosing for the next 2 weeks for students. And there's a lot of participation. So we just posted the 2 students at 1 for today. So, and then tomorrow for the rest of the week and through next week. So any questions with anything?
I'm just curious, do we know how it's helpful to see how this compares to last year? Do we know how it compares to the year previous? Just because last year was so strange. Do you happen to know?
I'm actually putting that together for the last 5 years because I'm curious too, because Michelle,
We've got that information.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the previous year was like right around 72. So I think we'll end up, sorry, it was 80.
80,
It was
I thought,
80.
yeah.
And so yeah, I think we'll end up, somewhere in between pandemic and pre-pandemic, which is great.
Right, which would be impressive because we don't have the ability to sell to people we don't know, right? We used to have students just out sitting in front of stores and anybody walking in. We can't do that now. So it's great to know that we're still getting close to what we did in the past, even when that's sort of taken away.
We are. I guess now with this platform, students are sharing it via social media. So, and they're creating their pages. So if anybody's actually been on, a lot of students have been creating their pages, which are sharing with families and friends. And that's getting a lot more push.
Right. Yeah, that has been a big help. I mean, both my kids have a page and they compete against each other, like what number they are. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Anything else on my end? I'm good. If anybody has any other questions.
All right, governance. Not quite as exciting as seeing those numbers from development, but just 2 big things. First doesn't take a lot of conversation. It's just the training reminder. So you're getting the updates. I know it's not due until November 1st, but just remembering that. Also remembering that, any type of education focused conference like John just attended in Columbia, that time goes toward your training hours. And we were just reviewing in the governance committee some of those training commitments that were made earlier this year. And so we'll be kind of putting together a calendar and work in some of this training during board meetings. So if we take 15, 20 minutes during some of these board meetings, then that'll also help fulfill those and get those training areas covered.
I've taken the training and I think boundary invasion course, I would like to see that expanded. Okay. I have a lot of questions and I think we need a better course after taking that course. I know I'm being cryptic.
No, I know, yeah, because the topic is cryptic.
The topic is cryptic and based on past experiences and new board members and stuff like that, I kind of think we need more of a type situation, a longer class. Okay.
Okay.
I think you need to talk to our attorney and we need to maybe mask up and come in and have a class on this. Okay.
Okay,
Because based on my little course training and just things that have happened in the past, I have multiple questions.
okay,
And I believe this is the same one that our teachers do, correct?
yes.
So,
But I don't know if there are additional ones that our teachers do that then the board doesn't do. So I don't know if
I
there's.
just think I would like a better understanding of that course that I took.
Okay,
A legal, I think I'd like a legal understanding of that course I took. Okay,
Harriet, in addition to the course, we have a policy adopted by the board a few years ago following an incident we had here. I think it would be good to revisit that policy and see whether or not it compensate your the missing part, or it would complete.
maybe so, but I you know, I took this and I'm like, because of the incidents that have popped up a long time ago. I'm just bringing that out. I'd like for you, if we needed a course, I think a course on this would be an interesting.
okay. All right, I've got that noted and we'll follow up on that.
Okay,
And Michelle, you might see in the chat, Jackie mentions our insurance company also.
Yeah. Yep, I grabbed that, so that's good. Okay. And then the other thing is new charter sponsor update. You know, we're trying to work toward a vote before the end of the year. And I think our last update, we were looking at University of Missouri St. Louis, and they've decided not to sponsor outside of St. Louis. So they are off the table. But I think there are talks, or I know there are talks that are going on with St. Louis University, with SLU. And then, of course, we've got the commission and KCPS that are on the table in terms of talking to. Mr. Bang, I don't know if you have a more detailed update than that.
Yeah, Beth and I met with University of Missouri St. Louis representative and also the commission, and we are planning to have them meet the board, talk to the board on October 25th. That's what it is.
I mean, that was initially what we thought when we were looking at UMSL and the commission as sort of the two key options. We were trying to do a special board meeting where any potential sponsors would present to the full board, and then we could discuss it and have a vote at the following regularly scheduled meeting. Because UMSL has come back and said, no, we now need to connect with University of St. Louis, or St. Louis University, which you might have done at the conference. And then I spoke with Vicki at UCM on, I think, Friday afternoon. She heavily encouraged, if we're having sort of sponsors present to the board, that we do include KCPS in that. She has seen them be a strong charter sponsor, so at least wants the board to have that as an option. So her recommendation was those three to do a presentation. So I don't think we will get all of that figured out in time for an October 25th. So we'll need to look at a different date, I think.
who recommended that?
So Vicki with UCM, she was the one who suggested that it be a consideration. I know we had sort of crossed them off. I think there is a lot of worries that come with KCPS. She shared that she thinks the superintendent is strongly in favor of it. The person that they've hired for managing charters is—
I'm sorry, has she listened to that superintendent? I went to a board meeting down in Jeff City to listen to him.
Oh, interesting. And what did it, so what's your—
And he was not in favor of charters. The words that came out of his mouth was not a very favorable charter. I understand where you're coming from, but when I listened to him in Jeff City in front of the educational committee, he did not sprout good things about charters.
Interesting. Who was that? I'm curious.
And so UMSL's off the table. Is St. Louis U interested?
Have you connected with them yet, Ellie? I know we just sort of got their contact a couple days ago, so I don't know that you have.
Yes, I attended the Missouri Charter Public School Association meeting that was coupled with the DESI Summit in Columbia. I was introduced twice by to the person in supervising the charter school, the dean of School of Education of SLU. I think two people who thought that I needed to meet him without knowing each other introduced me to him and tell them that we are looking for a sponsor. And I had a lunch with him and we had a good discussion. And I told him that we're gonna have a Zoom meeting with Beth and I, and we needed to schedule it probably next week. And he seemed to be enthusiastic in working with us. So we will. He said he will check our website and learn about us. And again, Vicky made the introduction, but also another charter school leader who said really good thing about us. Wanted me to meet with that person to discuss sponsorship. So he is interested.
Have they sponsored a charter?
I thought they had one or two current. I mean, they have a very small, they're one of the smaller sponsors, but don't they currently have one or two St. Louis schools that they sponsor?
So I received an email from him. I can read it here. Gary Reader. He said, I enjoyed meeting with you on Wednesday and Thursday at the Charter Conference in Columbia. We at SLU would appreciate the opportunity to speak with you further about a partnership between SLU and Academy Lafayette. I understand the next step is setting up a Zoom with you and your board president, Beth McCarthy. Please let me know if you would like to meet, and my executive assistant, Elizabeth Nutt, will set up a Zoom meeting. So that's the next step then, setting up the Zoom meeting. Maybe I'll try to see if we can do it this week or next week.
And I was just looking back at the list of which sponsors sponsor different schools. There is one school that they currently sponsor, City Garden Montessori, which I assume is St. Louis.
Yes.
So.
Okay, so our choices right now are maybe UMSL and
definitely not. So UMSL has said no. Which I mean, they were phenomenal. I was really impressed with them. And so I was disappointed that they came back to say they're not taking on any Kansas City schools at this time.
Okay, so our choices may be SLU or the Jeff City.
Right, correct, the commission. And I mean, my impression of our initial, because Elimon and I had initial meetings with them. My impression is post-secondary partners, they sort of are interested in partnering with us to really figure out how to be more innovative in education. And they're looking to really have a ground to test out new education ideas and pair with us to figure out what support do we need to really continue to move our work forward. I think the commission's focus is purely on an audit. And they said, you're doing great. So our goal is really just to stay out of your way, let you do what you do. So that's my impression of the big difference is they're going to provide an independent audit to really shine a light on how are we doing day to day. These post-secondary partners, I think they're more invested in helping us figure out how to do it well. So that's what I saw as the key differences in our initial meeting.
Well, when we discussed it, Beth and I, we thought that probably it'd be good for the board to hear all the three possible sponsors. At the end of the day, it's up to the board to make a decision which one to go to with. So that's why we thought that KCPS, because no matter what, they're our partner in the funding. So that's the issue. It's not pushing the school one direction or another. I'm thinking that at the board, you would like to have a due diligence and listen to everyone. And at the end of the day, it's your decision to make whoever you want to take.
Okay, so right now we have 2 or 3, and that's going to be that's the best case scenario.
Correct. Those are our only options. There's really nobody else that does sponsorship.
I'm on the record. I am not interested in Kansas City District. They will not provide us anything but an audit, and they will only aggravate us. Okay? They will not give us what you're looking for. They'll be just like the Jeff City or the Jeff City type thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not even sure they'll provide that. Okay? So I'm on the record. I'm obviously out there on YouTube and everything else. Okay. So
So, I mean, what we will do next is identify a date for a special meeting. So we won't take a vote at the meeting. We'll identify a date that all board members will be invited to hear the presentations, leave time after the presentations for discussion. And then the meeting following would be where the board takes the vote as to which sponsor we want to move forward with. Our goal is by December, we have this decision finalized.
So I talked to Robin too, Wabi at the meeting. And I don't know if she got back to you about the meeting on the 25th.
She never responded to
She told me she answered right away.
No, I haven't seen it.
That's what I asked her why we haven't. She said she answered right away. She's gonna go and verify. So we need to establish timeline, making sure that we will have this done by December. And then if it is a special board meeting to just discuss this and vote on it, the next one, I mean, would be good. I was thinking that the 25th is 2 weeks from now. I'm thinking that if we were able to meet with Gary this week, I mean, for him to come and present, that wouldn't be a problem. I mean, if KCPS is coming, I'm sure if you ask them to be there for the 25th, they'd be able to do it. But anyway, let's think about it.
Okay, then it's possible we'll stick with the 25th. We will email everybody by tomorrow to let you know if we're gonna stick with the 25th or need to look at a later date to get more warning.
So let's you and I have to discuss to see what's the best time for you to set up that Zoom meeting with Gary and her assistant to go from there.
Perfect.
All right.
And Diversity Committee, Kelly?
Good afternoon or good evening, everybody. Ugh, losing track of time during the day, right? Just wanted to call out a couple of things that the Diversity Committee has been working on. We're currently going to be supporting the Admissions and Outreach Department action in the student recruitment and district marketing efforts. We're going to be creating a sense of belongingness and affirmation across the classrooms. We planned professional development for the teachers in 2021, 2022, as well as we are planning a parent series, which will take place, I'm hoping, November the 17th of this year. So we're hoping that we get that done. Also, we'll be celebrating National Immigrant Day, working with the principals and teachers to kind of see how we'll celebrate the world cultures. Let's see, learning opportunities have been offered by the Diverse Charter School Coalition, as well as the DC is looking into possibility of recommending the Panorama Survey tool for students and teachers and parents to kind of actually see how, judge how we're doing. So looking forward to that. Also, we also had, I'd like to call out, we had a $1,000 donation that was donated on behalf of the Diversity Committee from the Anthem group. It's a local women's organization for which Pam Greer and Virginia Wallace are actually members of. And so they donated asked that a donation of $1,000 be done on behalf of the diversity committee to buy diversity of books and things. So the diversity committee is shaking and moving and hustling and bustling. So more to come. I appreciate all my committee members and all those that definitely work hard to get the job done.
Yeah, we just to complete this. We are for the Panorama. I shared with the principal. We're going to look at it, investigate, and see how adequate it is for our students survey. For those board members who join us, just to let you know, previous years we used to use 5 Essential Survey, and then it was paid for by Kaufman, and the program was discontinued. So we need to see whether Panorama is the best survey for us this year. We are thinking of administering the survey. Probably it's going to be in the first, second semester for teachers, students, and parents. Hopefully by December, it should be done, and any procedures or whatever we need to do, paying fees or subscription to Panorama would be done, or any other one we would adopt.
And I did forget to call out one additional thing. I did participate in the PTO meeting, just introducing myself as the chairwoman for the diversity committee. So definitely partner with the PTO committee and their coming events as well. So did want to mention that as well.
And just one point to this survey, it's something that we've been talking about for a while as a committee, really having a consistent survey tool that we can get feedback from parents, students, teachers, and look at over time to know, we're doing a lot of professional development with teachers regarding diversity, equity, and inclusion, but we don't know the best way to know, is that really changing the culture inside our classroom? So a survey tool is really critical to having a better understanding of how that work is going. So I'm excited to have some possibilities that we might be able to implement this school year.
Okay, for the head of school report, we have 3 items: the 21-22 demographic report, the COVID situation, and academic program. This report, after meeting with the leadership committee, who recommended to have longitudinal data and showing mainly how the minority students is progressing. So that's what I'll try to do here. We will not be able to present the free and reduced lunch because we only have partial data. We have somebody working on the free and reduced lunch data that will be presented later with the attrition also. But for the demographic, this is what we have at this point in time. Cherry and Oak from pre-K, we have 942 students in K5. For Armour, 6 to 10, 314 students. Of course, we're not where we were supposed to be in terms of enrollment. Of course, as you know, the last 2 years with this COVID has seen high attrition than normal. So we had 1,256 students. Last year, we were at 1,190 or 84 students. That's the current enrollment. Now, the graph you're seeing here, I wasn't able to share with you, is the projection we made a few years ago. A few years ago, I worked with Chad Phillips, who was the board chair, to see how can we meet our strategic plan goals of diversity to reflect the population of the Kansas City boundary. If you go to our goal number 1, is to reflect the Kansas City boundary. So we thought that if we, at the time we were taking only 120 students, how can we reach this without having preference policy, meaning preference for some population or not? So we say if you go from 120 to 200 students, 198, what kind of effort should we make for outreach to educate minority population and invite them to apply? That was the only way we could do it. So, and we made a projection for 10-year projection. If we take 198 and counting that the siblings will be there always, a majority of siblings will be Caucasian based on what we have. How many applications from minority students should we have to start reversing the trend? And this is the projection we said. If we do that and having an aggressive outreach policy program, remember we started our outreach program 2 years before our strategic plan, and our strategic plan we adopted in 2018. This is what it would look like in 26, 27. So what is the reality now? The reality is this. The last few years, 16, 17 is when we did that thing. And then the blue line is what we projected. The projection I just showed you. The blue line is what's projected, and the red line is what was actual. If you see it now, it looks like we're in course to do what we say we will do. Okay? So that's where we are. So what you can see, and we don't have any preference, because at the time when we were doing our strategic plan, some people were really pushing to have a zip code preference and so on. And we said there was a resistance to that, and said what we just need is inform the minority areas about our school and have a good outreach program. So that's what we did. So this one also shows you our demographic for the last 11 years. If you see it, 2011, 63% were Caucasian, and our diversity was going down. That's what prompted us to come up with an outreach program that was funded by a few foundations. And we hired somebody in charge of the first Tufanza, in charge of outreach, and then Leslie Colmeyer, and then we have now Robin King, who's doing a fantastic job. So the outreach program started in 2015. Okay, this is where we were, if you see it. And then we start coming down, and in 2018, we adopt the strategic plan. And this is where we're going now. Not even doing a preference, we just aggressively recruiting in minority areas. So this is the kindergarten. The one I sent you, there was some mistake on the one I just sent, I corrected it. It was not, if you look at, the reason why I was showing this is, this year being, when we did not have the same possibility of previous years, because of the pandemic, we could not go to the areas, we could not meet people and be more aggressive than this year. So if you look at it, probably will not be where we needed to be, but it's 1 point different kind of from what we were supposed to be. This is only K2, because we thought that we needed to watch the K2 population and see how diversity is going. Any question about these ones? No?
Fantastic work.
Yeah, I would like to congratulate Robin again for this great job. You can see how it's working.
Yeah.
This is what we said to our founders that we will be doing, because of our growth plan also was about diversity too. So this one I want to share also with you, because there's a lot of discussion about how many kids graduating, and we're losing kids in middle school, yes, for the last few years between 7 and 8, but our attrition was so good. So what you can see here is how many kids who entered in kindergarten graduated, went all the way to 9th grade and graduated. So the 2016-7 is the first class, the first kindergarten. They graduated in 6-7, only 27% graduated. So we had a higher attrition rate at the time. Okay, so you can see 2010, 2011 it was 30%, and then we went to 52.94% in 12-13, who entered kindergarten and stayed 9 years and left. Today we are at 70.59. So what it means is it's our normal 5% attrition a year, which is relatively very low compared to everybody else. Sometimes we had low attrition. I can say that middle school have high attrition than usual, so we need to watch it. I hope that with high school, it will diminish that attrition and keep us into the 65, 70% graduating. Question about this? Okay, COVID. This is the case of last 3 weeks of COVID in the different buildings and total for quarantine cases and cases identified COVID cases. We are at 91% vaccination rate for our staff.
That's excellent. That's great to hear.
It's
I'm
really
sorry.
good.
What'd you say?
91%
Oh, that is good.
vaccination rate.
Oh, that is good.
Again, recognition, the middle school, ARMA would like to recognize the IAL International High School team recognition. They're doing a great job. The team, I mean, the authorization was filed. The diploma program authorization is really a solid team working together and doing great job supporting the kids with the principals and everyone. So the deadline was October, so we are on track for the authorization of our diploma program.
I know that was no small feat for your team, so congratulations on getting that in.
I remember, I remember a few years ago when we did the authorization, we really offered a good recognition for the team. Hopefully this one also, once we do the authorization final visit, because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, so. Cherry welcomed their last 2 teachers who arrived from France, Sebastian and Marianne Levitre. Marianne helped us break down the 5th grade from 2 classrooms to 3 classrooms. Now we have a smaller number of kids in a classroom, so which is great. Sebastian is teaching kindergarten, replacing a teacher who is relocating, who has relocated into the East Coast. We still have 1 teacher left coming from Bamako in Mali, and we just sent a letter to the embassy, US Embassy, to see if they can help expedite the visa appointment. But that teacher is for the high school. So all the
how many teachers did we get total?
Pardon?
How many teachers did you get total?
New teacher or all the school?
Well, foreign teachers that came into the school.
6. We hired 6. 5 are already here. We have
Okay,
1.
so you hired 6.
And I would like again say it again and again and again to thank the French embassy in Washington, because they really helped us expedite all these visas from France. Remember, the first teachers had appointment in April 22. Okay, and they have been extremely helpful to expedite these visas, and they worked with Dorothy again. I don't know how to thank them. Maybe I'm sending them a card and flowers, maybe. But they did a really great job. Remember, a year ago, we were not able to get any teacher. We recruited 7 teachers, none were able to come here. Okay, so this time they really helped us.
Now, did we get any, what are they called? Paras or
Interns.
interns?
We have, how many interns, I would say? The interns that we hired from the embassy, because we have 2 agencies sponsoring our interns. The French embassy sponsored 4 or 5, and Amity sponsored 5. So the French embassies were able to get their interns because of the relationship between France and the US.
Okay.
Amity was able to send only 1 because that intern happened to be coming out of Europe from Senegal, because Senegal was not part of the restriction because of COVID. Europe was part of the restriction before COVID. Senegal was not part of it. So out of the 10, there's 1 that we was recruited from Senegal and was able to come before everybody else. So not all. Amity is the interns, we were not able to get
Most of.
us.
So the 6 interns that we have, are they in the kindergarten classes?
Yes. So we have also contacted the French embassy to see if they can help us with 2 other interns from Amity. So we hopefully we'll be able to get them. So we'll be having 8 interns.
Okay.
What have we seen as the impact in the class? I know oftentimes those interns play a critical role in just supporting the immersion of our kindergarten classrooms. What have you seen as the impact of fewer interns?
Well, fewer interns cannot be a good thing because, of course, if you have, not only relieving the teacher, because teachers are really tired, relieving the teacher, helping supervision, supporting kids who are struggling, all those things are extremely important. So I'm sure that next year we'll be asking for 14 interns, probably the only, because we want to have 4 interns for first graders also to help them. So, but that's an impact, of course. Not having the interns prevented us even for the early morning welcoming kids. So for Kiri and Oak, so we were not able to do that. Hopefully by next year we'll have enough interns to welcome kids earlier than what we have now.
Right. And I'm not sure that all of our parents make the connection as to why the school only opens 15 minutes early versus 30 minutes early. And it's because we don't have access, right? It's one of the sort of most readily visible ways that the no interns impacts.
Yeah.
And there are many other ways, but I don't think all of our parents recognize that's why we just can't open earlier.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
So Oak Building want to recognize Robin Hudson. Robin has been here with us for a very, very long time. 15 years, has been in charge of the food service at Oak. Beyond that, she has developed really great connection with kids and helping them, especially those who have some difficult days. Again, I think it's a great decision to recognize Robin Hudson for what she has been doing for our school. If you hear Jeff and Jarama is from Jean-Claude speaking Wolof. Academic report. I just said it, 5 teachers are here out of 6. The last H-1B visa was approved. The visa is approved now. We're waiting for the teacher to get here. We requested an expedited appointment. I sent an email to the embassy. The teacher sent one also. I'm waiting to see, hopefully we'll be able to get him here as quick as possible. The fall NWA testing has been completed. It took longer than we expected. We will close the session and look at the result and share it with the board in November. We would not be able to share the MAP test 2021 because the embargo for the other districts will be lifted on December 1st. That's the information we received at the Charter School Summit last week in Colombia. Unless the board just want to see our comparison with the state, which is readily available. I talked to the leadership committee. They said that maybe we wait until we get the other results. But yeah. Again, I told them we are down in math significantly, and we're trying to address that by giving, because for me, the learning loss, in fact, is mainly a time loss, because is a time loss because we were not able to have the kids and teach what we need to do. So that's why one of the solutions beyond helping our teachers be more effective is having a little bit more math class to make up the lost time for third, fourth, and fifth grade or second grade up. But also I'm working with the K2 team to revisit the quality of our K2 in French language and mathematics. I'm working with another group to revise the curriculum program and making sure that it's rigorous. Because one thing we need to understand, yes, our school has performed really well compared to Missouri. We have, if you look at the last 5 years and you compare only the test scores of the last 5 years, in each of the subject, we have been among the 10 top out of 500, okay? And if you put everything together, we would be among the top 5. But we want to diversify, we want to recruit students, disadvantaged students, and we need to understand that it's recognized nationwide, it comes with challenges. We need to make sure that our program is as good as then, and we plan to support them to be successful. It's one thing to be diverse, but it's another thing also to do it. And our strategic plan goal is also to make sure that we recruit diverse population, but we keep the quality of our program by not lowering expectation, by making it higher and making sure that all these kids are extremely successful. Friday, October 15 will be a wellness day and celebration for new teachers. We thought that the teachers are really feeling tired and with everything going on. So after talking with some of them, we decided that they can work from home or go to the spa or go wherever they want. If they want to come to school, they can come to school and work at their home, but it's going to be the day. But in the morning, we want to have a breakfast just to welcome again our new teachers and celebrate them. That's what we're doing on the 15th.
That's great to hear that you're doing that for your teachers. I know educators continue to just be exhausted by this environment that we're in. So glad you're giving them some time to take care of themselves.
In parent-teacher conferences is this week. It's going to be virtual and in person. As I just announced, the International Baccalaureate in High School Diploma Program authorization was signed by Beth, myself, and the principal, and submitted by Katie, our wonderful IB coordinator. She's doing a fantastic job, Katie Wilson. So, and the principal will restart the principal's coffee week of October 18. We will also planning to start the meeting for the Conseil d'école election and meeting this in October for the first meeting. We'll be starting. And we are planning to add also one high school student as representative on the Conseil d'école. It may not be now called a Conseil d'école because now we are, I don't know, we call it Conseil de District or something, but it's bigger than a school anyway. So we're thinking that PTO representative students and teachers and administration will be able to sit down and discuss whatever matter of interest about the school and how to improve things. So academic support is starting next week. I think it's a little bit late. We wanted really to start it much earlier than that, but we will start next week, and we will make sure that for next year, put in place processes to make sure that at the early September, first week after Labor Day, we start this academic support. The problem is needing to go and look at the test scores, looking at the NW scores to be able to see who, according to the federal program, is eligible to be served or prioritized. It takes some time. But again, it's kind of late, but we will be planning to see how to do that much earlier next school year. So meal distribution, thank you, Carlos, for sharing this information. Hot lunch started on August 1st, but it's still called breakfast because of the time we have, time frame for kids to come and go to classrooms. So high school, there was some concern about the portion of the high school were kind of too small and kids were hungry. So we worked with the provider and to serve the required high school meal, portion. It's done, and those are the numbers of kids served by building and by school. Just know that now we have 4 schools, by the way. They see now our school is broken down in 4 schools, the middle and high school. The high school is a school, middle school, Cherry and Oak. So later when we do reports from DESI, we'll be receiving those 4 reports. Transportation, we still have driver shortage, as you know, across the country. It's a problem, but I think so far we're doing fine thanks to our transportation company and Madam Carlos. The problem is we have some kids who only take the bus 1 day or 2 days a week. So once you do it, you cannot take somebody who is a full-time rider. Okay, that's one of the issue. And some kids also only take it because of the after-school program cancellation. So it's one of the issue we have. So far, we were able to serve those who requested it. Transportation, again, using special transportation for some students who in the morning or afternoon and whose parents cannot come and bring them at school, or for those who are homeless, in the homeless category, and who live within the 2 miles radius. So Madam Carlos is working with a social worker to support those kids to be able to get to school. Any question about our program? Any concern about anything? Okay, so I think this is Beth.
And nothing big for this, but I know we had a couple people, Eliman and John, attended the MCPSA conference last week. Any sort of key takeaways that you all would, and I don't know if anybody else on the call attended, but anything that you all would want to share from last week's conference?
I can go. This is John. I don't know if you can see me or hear me.
We can.
Okay. I'm in my car, so.
Who's winning the football games?
The Lincoln won.
Oh.
JV won. Beat Maryville, so it was a good game. Anyway, no, I didn't. I just went for the morning session on the second day. Only insights I have, I don't know if we talked about our the sponsor. I had a chance to. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say we did discuss it, but would love to hear sort of your input as well.
Yeah, I did. I had a chance to meet some of the sponsors. Most of them were from the higher ed sponsors out of St. Louis and South SEMO. I did not meet UMSL, University of Missouri St. Louis. SEMO is Southeast Missouri State or whatever it's called. SLU, St. Louis University, and Washington University. And I also met, I believe, somebody from Mizzou, but I just really met them. I didn't really get a chance to talk that much about their being sponsors for a school in Kansas City, but I at least know them and can initiate the conversation if we need to. I did speak with Charnissa Holiday Scott with the KCPS about sponsoring, and so we'll see. I just told them that we probably would just like to hear a pitch from everybody, and then we can kind of discuss and go from there and see what everybody has to offer. But it did seem like most of the higher education sponsors or trying to get out of the business of sponsoring charter schools. That's just kind of what I gathered, but I don't know if that's necessarily true or not. But
Right. I mean, that's definitely been my impression as well. And, over the last 3 or 4 years, we have seen post-secondary institutions back out. So it does seem more and more are not focusing on sponsoring charters. Vicki seemed to think, because I talked with her on Friday afternoon, that St. Louis University would be a school that is interested in taking on more charters and would be a great fit because they have a very strong Department of Education and are very innovative in their approach. So Eliman and I are working on scheduling a call with them. So we'll see where that conversation goes.
okay, yeah, no, that would be good. I mean, they're a private college too, so that they should have a little more flexibility, I guess, in theory,
Right.
to do what they want. But,
Yeah.
And I don't know if you told them, I also got elected onto the board of Missouri MCPSA, Missouri Chartered Public School Association. So I'll have the first meeting in a couple of weeks. So
Yeah, we didn't know if that was official news yet.
Yep, it's official. So I just got an email from Doug saying we were unanimously voted on. So I'm looking forward to helping out and plug in AL as much as I can, as
And
well as other charter schools, obviously now.
That's
So,
awesome.
And go to Jeff City and get that thing passed.
Exactly.
Yep, yeah, we'll try. That's the goal.
Yes, congratulations, though. That is exciting. I think most of our board knows that you've served on the AL board since 2010. So I love that as your sort of time on the AL board is coming to an end, you're already thinking about how you can sort of support charter work moving forward. So excited to hear that all worked out.
Yeah.
Yep. And I'll keep you guys posted. I mean, now you'll have as long as I'm still on the AL board, you'll have a direct line as to what's going on. So I'll disclose whatever I can, but at least have somebody who can give you the 411 when we can, or when I can give it anyway.
Right.
Perfect.
That will be wonderful. All right, but nothing else on my end. And I believe we no longer have closed session today, correct?
No, we don't.
Oh, good.
So anything else? I don't think there were any other final comments, thoughts from the board, questions. All right, then I think we are good to wrap up and go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight.
This might be a record.
Yay!
Yeah.